Hello, Rob. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Representative.
Very good. So you talked about reforms, and you called this reform. Are you open to discussing other reforms, maybe something like a constitutional amendment for term limits?
Well, I believe that those sorts of measures should be handled separately, and if you're, I think if that's an interest of yours, then by all means file it, and we can have that discussion.
So you'd be open to having a discussion on that?
Well, it's not a measure that I support, Representative, just as I suspect that this is not a measure that you support.
Okay. What about a discussion on a constitutional amendment for fair maps?
Again, it's not my issue. My issue is this that we have before us. It's the fair tax. This is what I campaigned on 7 years ago. It's what I filed bills on. It's what I've had town hall meetings on. It's what I believe in. This is my issue. This is what I'm putting forth.
And what about a discussion on a property tax hard cap?
I have worked tirelessly towards property tax relief. In fact, I passed a bill in the last General Assembly that increased homeowners exemptions, saved taxpayers in Cook County between $300 and $1,000 a year in property taxes, so I'm always happy to have that discussion.
And I would zealously advocate for a property tax hard cap, but to the amendment. Here we are debating a constitutional amendment to hike taxes when Wallet Hub says Illinois' tax burden is the highest in the nation. Revenue and tax receipts are off the charts at record highs right now because of President Donald J. Trump's economy and tax cuts. Is the struggle about spending, or is this struggle about revenue? Hear me say this. Illinois has a spending problem, not a revenue problem. It's about the liberal trifecta of higher spending, higher taxes, and even more waste. In 2011, this body passed a temporary tax hike with no reforms. In 2017, this body again passed a tax hike, a permanent one, I might add, with no reforms. And now this body wants to jam through a constitutional tax hike with still no reforms. People of Illinois, people in the gallery, people watching online right now, Chicago politicians want more of your money. More money to feed their legislative pay, lucrative pensions. More money to sustain patronage workers. More money to benefit Chicago public schools over our own suburban school districts. Hear me say this. Illinois has a spending problem, not a revenue problem. We haven't had a meaningful discussion about amendment for fair legislative redistricting. We haven't had a meaningful discussion about an amendment to reform pensions. We haven't heard a meaningful discussion about an amendment for term limits. 3 items that pull off the charts. 3 items that are very, very popular with all of our constituents from all 118 districts. Hear me say this. Illinois has a spending problem, not a revenue problem. The supporters of this tax hike are politicians, lobbyists, and other political parasites, not the hard-working people of Illinois. I've been calling this a jobs tax because that's exactly what it is, a tax on jobs. Ladies and gentlemen of Illinois, our issues are about spending and not revenue. Thank you very much.